Mike. Thank you.
We're all set online.
Outstanding. How many do we have out there? Do you know?
We have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 online.
Okay. Slow me down if I get too quick. All right, here we go. Calls meeting to order. Chippewa County Regular Board of Commissioners meeting December 22nd, 2022. With pledge of allegiance. Commissioner McLean, may I have the honor, sir?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McLean.
Here.
Commissioner Postula. Commissioner Savoy.
Here.
Commissioner Shackleton.
Here.
And Chairman Martin.
Here. Do we have any additions, deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, under new business 9B, I'd like to add a resolution for Commissioner McLean, and under 9C, resolution for Commissioner Postula.
Very good, thank you. Do we have any other change? Yes, sir.
I was just going to move to approve with the change, or rather second his motion.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor of resolution 9B and 9C?
Support.
Start by saying aye.
Yep. What? Hey.
Aye. Against? Motion passes. All right.
You want to move the whole agenda now? Because
Yep.
I was just amending it. I'll move the approval of the amended agenda.
Support.
Okay. Motion and support for the new agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next is approval of county board minutes.
I move approval.
Move approval of the regular board meetings. We can do the public meeting in there too, right? Okay, and the public meetings of 5 a.m. Support. Motion and support for approving the county board minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Correspondence, page 19 of your packet, gentlemen.
I need to acknowledge receipt of the correspondence and forward them as appropriate.
Support. Motion and support to move these correspondence forward to the appropriate place. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, public comment is next. 15-minute limit on a single subject, 3 minutes per person. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak and come up to the microphones, because we're having issues with people not being able to hear us?
Here. Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and address the commission here. As you know, I'm Robert Layton, the manager at the Road Commission, and a couple of things I just wanted to address here today. Take the opportunity, one, with the upcoming storm that we have going, to hopefully allay some concerns, things going around. There's a lot of media hype over incoming weather event that's going on. And the main thing I wanted to point out is that we are well prepared to handle whatever comes our way. It is some concerning forecasts that are out there. This is going to be, if the forecasts come true, a very serious event. And one of the other things I wanted to mention was the cooperation that we've received here with Chippewa Central Dispatch. Earlier in the day, we actually had Greg and some staff out to our place. We've very quickly, in the matter of 2 days, come up with a cooperative agreement with them, the Sheriff's Department, State Police, and several of the fire and EMS places to become a emergency depot for fuel. There's came to our Greg's attention. There is not a fueling station in the Sioux with generator backup. If there's long-term power outages, there's no opportunity for fuel, especially for these emergency vehicles. So with fuel and generator backup at all of our facilities, we figured we'd extend that, and they grabbed it up really quick, and it it's a very good agreement that came about very quickly. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. That was a good thing to come about. And so as you hear of the terrible things happening here over this holiday weekend, we're in good shape to move into it. So the second thing I wanted to address, you guys have seen requests coming about and of an effort. It began with a couple of township officials relating to our request to obtain some of the ARPA funds from a year ago. And I just wanted to acknowledge the work and our gratitude at the Road Commission for the concern of our township partners. We regularly partner with the townships on construction projects. They share a huge amount of money with us on an annual basis relating to road improvements and paving, to the tune of a little north of $2 million a year is about what we receive in township funds. So they definitely truly are our partners, and I just wanted to express my gratitude that they are thinking about and concerned about our condition and our abilities to function this winter in light of inflated fuel prices and where we're at with things on that. So that's all I was going to address with that, is just express that gratitude. So thank you much, guys. You bet.
Thank you. Any more public comments? Mr. Barron, sir, good to see you.
How you doing?
Good, and yourself?
Not too bad. Just getting ready for the big storm, or so-called storm anyways. Last month I talked about ambulance districting. This month I do want to talk about that ARPA money a little bit. You guys seem to talk about that quite a bit after I spoke last month. There was several requests put in for some of that ARP money, and I understand the point of view coming from the county commissioners. My thing is that the outlying townships outside the city limit, there's a lot of people. There's more people that live out in these townships than do in the city. When the road commission, for one, asked for 850 or whatever the amount was, I don't have that in front of me. That request went to the wayside as well as everything else. And I've heard a lot of arguments about the county having a $2.4 million fund balance and all that. Well, their fund balance in the year 2020 was shortened because of the COVID pandemic. When the county road commission went to the state of Michigan and asked them for some ARP money, they said no, that because the county road commission is in direct association with Chippewa County, that the money was given to Chippewa County, go to the county, ask them for the money. I do believe that the road commission is entitled to at least their request for that money to recover what they lost in 2020 during the pandemic. We've heard arguments about, well, if we give it to one, we got to give it to everybody. Well, I don't really agree with that. I mean, at least the road commission, being a part of and what they do for the county and the roads, should get some of that money. Couple other things with the ARP money. We're talking about rural internet. We talk about a lot of things. Mr. Shackleton, I believe you even suggested at one time, and I agreed with you, is like Sugar Island, Nebish Island was left off the map. So I think you had mentioned even one time about maybe having a $500 voucher for the people on those islands. If they wanted to, they could have $500 to pay for the equipment, and then they'd be responsible for the monthly bill. I mean, that was just some of the other things that, you know, this ARP money could have been used for. You know, I understand that you guys kept the money to use here at the county level, but my main thing was the road commission being in direct association with Chippewa County should have received some of that money. There's a lot of things going on with ambulance districting, ARPA funding, rural internet, that we really need to take a closer look at, especially for the people that live outside the city limit. Now, there's a lot of people that live in these townships that depend on these services. So this is probably the first time you're going to hear of it. I'm probably going to hear about it some more coming in the future, because the townships and the people are really starting to gain momentum, and they're starting to listen and pay attention to some of these issues. So that's all I got for you tonight. Appreciate it. One last thing, just want to congratulate Don. Thank you for your years of public service. Thanks to Ted, but he's not here. So everybody have a Merry Christmas and a good New Year.
Thank you, sir. You have Merry Christmas also. Any other want to speak on public comment?
Make sure to check.
Mike? Do we have anybody out?
I don't-
in Zoom?
I don't have any indications.
We'll give them a couple seconds here because we've closed it on these guys before. And we want to make sure we give them time. But if you're going to speak, then that'll give them another 3 minutes if you'd like.
Okay. I'm nervous about this. I don't even know if this is the right, I was hoping the sheriff would be here, actually. Okay. I'm nervous. I'm sure you guys are aware that there are 3 gun bills filed and ready to be signed into law in January. Do you guys know about that? No? Okay, they're signed, ready to be signed into law with the new administration coming in. These laws, among other things, will make it a 5-year felony to own any unregistered semi-automatic rifle with detachable magazine, among other things. I'm sure you also know that criminals don't register anything and that Second Amendment wasn't written just for the right to hunt squirrels. In 2019, this county made a resolution to become a Second Amendment sanctuary county. And I was here to ask the sheriff if he would reaffirm that resolution, or you guys as a county board, however that happens. The county sheriff has more authority than any state or federal law enforcement. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. Officer. In fact, the sheriff has the authority to deputize every law-abiding gun owner in this county should the situation arise for the citizenry to protect our county from threats, foreign or domestic. You may say it won't happen in Michigan or it won't come up to the UP or Chippewa County. And I would say to you, it's on its way. This is not political, this is constitutional. Shall not be infringed was purposely enshrined to keep tyranny at bay. The World Economic Forum has chosen Michigan as the United States headquarters with a goal in mind to push carbon credit system and to centralize our utilities. That's already in planning. Camp Grayling expansion project seeks to double in size, cutting off access to public land and water with a purpose to expand its capacity for training international troops and enlarging their electronic weapons testing. We're about to get 87,000 armed IRS agents in the field. I'm asking you to honor your oath that you took to protect our unalienable God-given rights. In closing, I'm going to leave you with a quote from a Nazi sympathizer named Martin Nomelier, I got that name wrong, who ended up in a concentration camp because after you sit back and don't do anything, if you don't do anything after they're done using you for us, they will come for you. His quote says, "They came for the socialists. I did not speak up because I was not a socialist. They came for the trade unions. I didn't speak up because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I did not speak up because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak up for me." I'm just asking for a reaffirming of that resolution to make Chippewa County a Second Amendment sanctuary county for real. Okay.
All right. Last call on Zoom.
There are no hands raised.
Anybody else out here? Okay. Going once, going twice. Declare public comment closed. Administrator's report. Mrs. Church.
There's a new report on here. I spoke with Joe Nolan earlier probably in the last quarter, and he's going to start forwarding these senior services reports so that you guys can look at them quarterly as well, so you can see where the meals are being served. And to follow up a little bit on what Mr. Leighton said, Greg has also confirmed 17 warming stations for this weekend if need be. So they've all been working fast and furious to make sure that everybody's covered. So.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. New business.
Mr. Chair, the first resolution is this resolution to approve the settlement. This is a statewide opioid, right?
No, this
This,
is
which one
on
is this
the
on?
tax foreclosure.
Oh, the tax, right, okay. On the delinquent tax issue. This seems to be the best deal and best outcome we could hope for, and I would move approval.
Support. Motion and support. Is there any other discussion? I don't concur that this is the best we could do. It's not
Yeah,
happening.
we met last month with the attorney representing the counties, and I got the explanation in detail.
All right. All those in favor?
This is,
I'm sorry, roll call. Roll call, sorry about that.
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
Commissioner Savoy,
Yes.
Commissioner Shackleton.
yes,
And Chairman Martin.
Yes. Next, we have resolution 9B, recognition of Don McLean, his many years of public service.
so this is yet to be written, I assume.
Nope, it's actually.
Oh, we do have it? Oh, excellent. I'm sorry, I didn't have a copy in here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was
Um,
hot off the press.
Very good. I'd just like to thank you again, Don, when we needed somebody to fill in for the 6 or 7 months, whatever it was, that you were willing to step up and do the service. Thank you.
I also would add, he kept the politics out of this position. I think that's important going forward, that we let the voters decide who should have this seat, and Don allowed that to happen. And, gave, again, more of his time. Very much appreciated.
Did you make the motion?
I didn't, would you like me to, or do you want to? I'll make the motion that the resolution is
And I
approved.
happily support it.
Motion and support for resolution honoring Don McLean on his second retirement. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Savoy,
Yes.
Commissioner Shackleton.
Yes.
Chairman Martin
Yes.
and Commissioner McLean.
I'm staying.
Right to the end. Cross his T's, dot his I's. Very good. Next resolution, exact same thing for Ted Postula.
So moved, and I would like to also thank Ted for his many years of service.
I would agree.
And I'll support. And also just note that when I started 18 years ago, which is hard to believe, Ted was one of the guys that was here. And I think he was pretty suspicious of me at the time, but we've grown to have a very solid professional relationship, and I've got a lot of respect for him. So he served this county well.
Good. Yes, I wished I'd known him longer and knew him better, but certainly consummate professional from start to finish. And it is the nice thing about this commission is we can disagree here, and then we can go and sit and talk and socialize. And that's nice because we don't have that everywhere else in politics, that we can agree to disagree and move forward. We've got roll call on this, right? Okay.
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
Commissioner Savoy,
Yes.
Commissioner Shackleton
Yes.
and Chairman Martin.
Yes. Okay, standing committee reports, finance. Chairman Savoy, you're on.
The regular Finance Claims Accounts Committee meeting was held on December 20, 2022. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin, to approve the amended agenda as presented on voice vote. Motion carried. I will so move.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
We have one person speak public comment. We reviewed the correspondence information items, no action necessary. Moved into agenda items. Home health update, hospice update, and home care private duty update. Moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Postula to acknowledge oversight and programming updates for these services on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Sheriff's Department, moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin, to approve the All-Star Marine and Power Sports quote to purchase a 2023 Ski-Doo Renegade 900 using snowmobile law enforcement grant. With the county match, this purchase was fully vetted by the grant on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the snowmobile purchase. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Sheriff's Department Stone Garden purchase request covered snowmobile trailers. Moved by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Postula to approve the purchase of the trailer to Gaylord Thompson Sales and Service, a Stone Garden grant covering costs and county match 2,000. This purchase meets the federal and state requirements of Stone Garden grant and voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the snowmobile trailer. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Sheriff's Department purchased snowmobile by another grant, moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton to approve the purchase of the Ski-Doo, which will be reimbursed from Stone Garden grant. This purchase meets federal and state requirements of Stone Garden grant and voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for another snowmobile purchase. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Sheriff's Department Law Enforcement Services, Drummond Island Township, 2023, moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton to approve the contract for law enforcement services between the Drummond Island and Chippewa County Sheriff's Office. On voice vote, motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the law enforcement agreement with Drummond Island Township. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Central Dispatch, Offices of Emergency Services, Fund 211 training, moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Martin to approve the payments for the trauma life support and train the trainer and for the 800 megahertz system on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for Central Dispatch and trauma and training the trainer. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Central Dispatch Service Agreement renewals, moved by Commissioner Postula, supported by Commissioner McLean to approve the service agreement for Motorola Solutions and for Caligo GIS as presented on the voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for Central Dispatch. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Court Maintenance and Support Agreement renewals for JAF's System, Probate District and Circuit Courts, moved by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner McLean to approve the maintenance and support agreement for the three courts listed on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the maintenance contracts. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Or opposed? Sorry. Motion passes.
Administration, MIRMA 2023 renewal, moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Postula to approve the net asset distribution be returned to county's loss fund and approve the renewal and contribution breakdown as presented on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for MIRMA renewal for 2023. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Administration, moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Martin to approve the renewal of the HVAC annual maintenance agreement for the county building with Albert Heating and Cooling on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the maintenance agreement. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Administration, moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Postula to approve the subordination agreement for the community home improvement loan to further assist homeowners on voice vote. Motion carried. That was so moved. Support.
Motion and support for the non-diminishing mortgage. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Administration, MERS updates, moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Postula to approve the MERS 457 participation agreement for union members that are on hybrid retirement system on a voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Finance claims and accounts for November for the county and the health department, moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Martin to recommend approval of the November county bills and payroll, general claims, other fund claims, payroll and health department claims, and health department payroll, total claims on voice vote. Motion carried. Up and so moved.
Support.
Motion and support to pay the bills. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Finance budget amendments for FY 2022, moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Postula to approve the year-end budget amendments and to include a MERS payment from the general fund to cover MERS revisions with unfunded liability on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the budget amendments. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
There were no committee comments, chairman comments. I spoke and talked about the amount of money the county budgeted and has increased expenditures, and thanked everyone for the services county provided, and happy holiday. It was moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Martin to adjourn. The meeting was adjourned at 4:49 p.m. And I move for the acceptance and distribution of this report.
Support. Motion and support to accept minutes as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have commission reports on meetings as board representatives and general comments. Well,
Well, I'd like to say happy holidays to everyone, and thank you for participating, and glad to see people here.
Go ahead, sir.
I'll let you have the last word.
Okay.
If I just one thing, I kept hearing earlier this evening about the road commission being somehow like a part of Chippewa County. I just wanted to make clear that so that everybody knows once and for all, the only thing that makes the road commission part of Chippewa County is its name, Chippewa County Road Commission. The Chippewa County Road Commission is independent and not a part of Chippewa County. The health department, yes, part of Chippewa County. Sheriff's Department, part of Chippewa County government. Road Commission, no, they are not a part of Chippewa County government. So whatever you think about the issue is fine, but we just need to be clear on that point. Okay. So, oh, the lady who spoke about Second Amendment. I don't know the bills that you're talking about, but I think that there is remains a very strong commitment among certainly most citizens, and I believe on the county commission to support the Second Amendment. And I want to assure you of that. But you do need to be diligent. We do need to watch. Just now in Canada, they've outlawed the sale or transfer of any handgun. You can't do it. If I want to sell you my pistol, I may not do it. It's against the law. So there are changes that seem to be happening, and hopefully nothing too onerous will be happening in Michigan, because I also support the Second Amendment.
So should I go, should I go so that he can have the last word?
Well, except for me to say Merry Christmas to all.
Yeah,
to
and
all, 'cause
I'll start out then with Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. As far as the art money, I don't want to oversimplify what we do, but we are the gatekeepers of the money. That's what we do. That is our number one job. It is fiscal and that it's just what we do. And the fact of the matter is, at this point, we do not have a revenue stream that is more than our expenditures. We are still bleeding money from COVID. And I'm only one vote, but I will tell you this, I cannot support us giving money really to almost anything until our revenues are back to more than our expenditures. We're still bleeding red. And yes, that money is sitting there, but that's why we have fund equity. That's why it's there for that and for, unfunded mandates that we have for our retirees. I mean, that's why that money is there. I know other municipalities have just doled out, Traverse City just doled out what, $11 million day before yesterday. I mean, we just can't do that. We're just not, we're not over COVID financially. And that's where my heart lies. And yes, we wish we could give everybody a check. Health department's been through all kinds of stuff. The sheriff's department, they have needs. Everybody has needs. And that's what I mean. Once we get on somebody else, then they are going to get in line. And I know we don't have to give them anything. But it's, I'll be the Grinch here. I do not feel comfortable giving anybody extra monies until our revenue catches up with our expenditures. And that's, again, I'm one person. Go ahead, Commissioner McLean, you may certainly have the last word, sir.
Okay, I did attend a couple of meetings this month. One was prison liaison. Prisons are still up and well. They have a big budget this year for infrastructure, roofs, cameras, and improvements at the prisons. I also attended the MTA meeting, Michigan Township Association, and it was an amazing big turnout. I've been attending them for probably 10 years, and it was the largest turnout that I'd ever seen, representing many supervisors and townships. I think there were at least 9 townships represented there. There is concern. There is concern about various things, 3 items in particular. And the townships are maybe just became aware of it or whatever of what might be possible. The first one that I'll mention is ambulance service. It's been an issue for when Rudy was on here. He tried to muster some kind of a program. At that meeting, the MTA meeting, I believe the fellow from supervisor from Trout Lake spoke that they recognize the problem, that they are at the end of the line as far as ambulance service. Well, I guess they decided to look at Mackinac County, and the fellow that was there is actually the chairman of what or whatever of an authority that was put together with Trout Lake Township. I don't know if there are any others out there, and Mackinac County, some townships in Mackinac County right up through. And they've gone through and are putting together a mechanism to handle the lack of service out there. And after we talked about that, of course, that comes into Chippewa County now also. And that's something that's important out there to the townships. Right behind it is fire service. These fire departments, guys are getting older, not as many volunteers. And it's a long ways from Sault Ste. Marie or Kinross out to Trout Lake or whatever. And the townships are recognizing that they need to do something if anything's going to be done. And that was a big issue. The road commission, of course, was another big issue. And we talked about that extensively. And the people who live in the city have this city street department that does the job. And the information we had at that meeting was that when the road commission asked the state about ARPA funds, they were told that they're not a government entity per se, and that they couldn't qualify. And well, they said, well, what can we do? Well, the answer was you could go to the township or go to the county for that. So that's how the county got lined up the sites of the people in the townships. The last one is the broadband. Okay. People in the city have extensive broadband, lots of choices. When we were going through COVID, it was tough for kids in the townships. And again, as Eric mentioned, there are more people live in the townships than live in the city. And so they're looking at what the county can do for that. Now, we may say this, we may say that, but people in the township are looking at 3 Mile Road and saying, how come it's this way here and that way there? I don't have an answer for it, but they are getting concerned. And again, that was the biggest turnout that I'd ever seen at a township MTA meetings in all the years that I've gone there. So you can expect that it's going to continue. They're going to be working on it, and they'll be back. Just so that you know that that's coming as a commission here. And I have to say that I look at some of their concerns are legitimate. I'm fortunate. I live in Sioux Township, 6 Mile Road, and the city covers our ambulance service. Okay. But when it comes to fire service, you know, we have Dafter Township, we have Sioux Township, but again, it's a little bit shaggy as to who comes and does what. So I think that's something that the county commission should look at as far as aiding and helping them get these authorities up and running so they can handle it themselves. I look at, all of these as having not just, watch TV and use your computer, but I look at these as 2 of them as being, actually 3 of them, as being health issues. When you're out living on a side road and it's storming and you get sick, I know the road commission does everything they can. But again, I've heard it was explained to us that it isn't the road commission needs that money to operate right now, but that money that they didn't get depleted their funds available where before they could pay for something out of the general fund before, and now that's not available. When you look at a truck, I believe I heard one time just lately that the snowplow truck is $800,000, maybe a little about that.
300.
300? Oh, well, this one must have had, maybe it's at the airport where we buy plow trucks. They sometimes run that much. But so there's some legitimate concerns out there. I know the ARPA funds were put out there for a variety of reasons. And I think that the road commission the people in the townships may have a genuine concern and a legitimate concern. Same with ambulance service. When Rudy was working on this, if you wanted to go out and drive a 4-wheeler out in the national forest and you got flipped it over and got hurt, and if you're away from here, which maybe we shouldn't be concerned about them, but people expect when they take their phone and hit 911 that within a reasonable amount of time an ambulance is going to arrive, pick them up and take them to the hospital. Well, that's not the way it is right now. And so I think that that's something that is a legitimate concern of the townships. And I think they could use some help organizing that. Kinross Township has been a leader in that. They bought up ambulances as these other entities have closed. The townships have closed their service. They bought them up. They built a little bit bigger facility out there, and they're trying. But it's something that the majority of the people, again, live out the other side of 3 Mile Road, and that concern is there. And I think we need to be aware of it. The broadband, again, health issues. If you watch much TV long enough, as you get older, you watch more TV. Okay, folks. One thing I saw there for the first time the last couple of weeks was an ad that said, you know, if you've got a cough, you got a cough pump. Okay. If you've got a cough or a sore throat and you don't think it's worth driving into a care clinic or whatever, or emergency room or whatever the other one is, where you go in and stop by or whatever, that you can dial a number, get your service there, and but it said the last part of it says all you need is an iPhone and a good internet connection. Well, you don't have a good internet connection, and I think I've mentioned a number of times. I've had a doctor's appointment, drove into town here, checked into the office. They took me in, sat me down in front of a computer monitor, and I talked to a guy from Cincinnati or somewhere like that. But that's the type of thing that's out there and it's coming. And these services, I think, would make life a lot easier for people in the township here. If you're not feeling well, you can call an ambulance if you're really serious, but you can call a taxi, you can call Dial-A-Ride, or get a neighbor to drive you there. And it's only a short drive. But out in hinterlands, it's something that is important. And again, a health issue. And the population of Chippewa County is getting older. That's a fact. And you see the trying to think of the census reports. It's growing older. Wish we had more younger people, but it's growing older. And older people, I can attest to it, start having more aches and pains and problems. And so that was something that came out of the MTA meeting. And I think that's something that the commission needs to be concerned about and aware of. Lastly, I want to thank the commission for having the trust in me to ask me to come back and serve for 6 months. I appreciate that. And it's, as usual, a very interesting experience. And I've enjoyed it. And also express season greetings to everybody. I hope you have a great Christmas and prosperous New Year. As usual, I rattle on and on, but I'm done. Thank you.
It's all good. Do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second, Commissioner McLean?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
All in favor? Aye.